Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is your guy Keenan Lambert. I'm coming at you live and direct. Well, maybe not live, but definitely direct from Belize City here in Belize. Now I want to tell you guys a little bit of a combination story, okay? It's two stories that I'm just going to blend into the same video because they both have to deal with Belizean women and my experience with Belizean women. Nothing too ratchet, nothing too crazy, alright? Let's get into the video.
She looking like a goddess. Broke up your thing, got a booty so yummy. Wind up your bumper, me I fi go run it. Run for your life, she got my heart running. Caught my attention faster than Sonic. Broke up your thing, got a booty so yummy. Wind up your bumper, me I fi go run it. Run for your life, she got my heart running. Caught my attention faster than Sonic. Wind up your pum pum, got the clock saying yeah, yeah. En un movimiento criminal, mata cuando se menea. So good and wet, I be swing all in there, say yeah.
So I'm here poolside. You might hear some kids in the background acting crazy, enjoying themselves in the pool. Please just disregard that. Okay, so now let's get into the story. So for this first story, we're gonna have to go back maybe about 10 years to a much younger version of me. Now, there was an older woman, okay, maybe she was about 15 years older than me, and she was previously married. Okay, previously married. We both worked in the same agency. Now, this is a huge agency, but we worked in separate wings of the agency. So we ended up going to a Caribbean after work party, and that's where where we first kind of made contact. Okay, after that, okay, that's where the DMs started. Okay, or just simple back and forth text messages, actually, not DMs. So we were talking with each other, we got cool, and then we decided to, why not advance? Okay, let's just advance it to the next stage. So I ended up going out, did drinks. There was a spot not too far away from where I worked. It was called Cancun, and then one day after work, we just went back to her place, and then adult stuff went down. Okay. Now, it was cool, it was a good time. It was different from the other experiences that I had with women that were not half her age, but a lot younger than her. Extremely mature. Okay, there wasn't that back and forth drama. It was just plain, direct communication without the roller coaster of emotion. Okay, it was definitely something different from it. Now, during this time, I was very much dedicated to maintaining my free agency as much as I could, okay, unless the right situation came about. Now, this, you could say, was a great, excellent situation that, matched me at the time. However, she was just too damn old, right? Just a little bit too damn old for me at that point in time. And, one time, right, she would say, Keenan, how about we just go ahead and make a kid? Now, for me, this is a 24-year-old, 25-year-old, or however that old I was. At that point in time, I never had a woman just directly say that to me. It kind of, stopped me in my tracks. And, something that I always wanted, right, was for my future child to have what I had. Okay, what I had was two loving parents in the household, married, raising little me. And that was a vision, a dream that I had for my future child. Now, with the, just the age gap in play, I knew that maybe this wouldn't work out. Now, that's when I'm 40, right, or when I'm 50, she would be, close to cane age, right, walking around with a cane or with a walker, and that for me, just wouldn't have been a good thing. So, I silently declined her offer. And eventually we sort of fizzled out because of that. Something that I didn't know was that was actually something that she was seeking. She was seeking the perfect individual to have a second child with. She had a child from her first marriage, or from her marriage, right? And she didn't want her son to be alone after she passed away eventually. Right? She's still alive today, but something that she wanted was just for her son to have somebody alongside him. Right, cousins, not good enough. She wanted him to have a sibling. Let me give you some background information. This was a woman that was making at the time. Very, very good money, right? Leaps and bounds ahead of me, right? And what she stated was that the child, wouldn't be my responsibility. She just, needed me to do this thing for her. Okay, and I went ahead and I declined. Okay. Now, so in other words, it wouldn't have been a eventual child support situation. Okay, even if I didn't take responsibility. But then, again, that's just not what I would do. I don't think I could bear being a parent living away or outside of the same household of my child. And in the future, I might not have a choice in that matter. But still, that's something that I was very gung-ho about at that moment. And also, look at it another way. Say I said, no, you're having my child. I want to be with my kid. Say we end up getting married, and then her son, who at the time was maybe only 10 years, maybe about 10 years younger than me, looking at me like, yo, what's up, step pops, ready to beat me up, right? Not gonna happen. It wasn't gonna happen.
And maybe only a month after that situation fizzled out, I took a nice thing to a restaurant that the old Belizean cougar showed me. She pulled up with her homeboy, and there was no drama. Everything was completely cool. You gotta get yourself a Belizean cougar.
So let me know in the comments below if you think I made the right decision with declining that one. Okay, would you have done the same thing? Because here I am, a good 10, 11 years later, still no kids. All right, I'm here traveling solo by myself, no kids, no future, just me by my lonesome. All right, so let's move ahead to the next story. So at the current point in time, I travel exclusively solo. I'm an exclusive traveler. However, when I was much younger, maybe just before or during grad school, I used to take runs with my boy. Okay. So say maybe about 10 years ago, my boy and I decided, yo, let's run off to Cancun. Okay, so we link up in Cancun. All right, two idiots linking up in Cancun and just had a blast. All right, but, well, actually depends on the Cancun trip. I think we might have taken maybe 2 or 3 Cancun trips together. This might have been our second, I want to say, our second trip to Cancun. Anyway, so we're staying at Aloft Hotel, right? It is relatively modern, super chic, definitely for millennials, designed specifically for millennials, right? So we had met these young ladies, some young ladies from Belize. It was a crew of 4 or 5 of them. I don't remember if it was 4 or 5. Let's see, there was the heavy girl, right? Heavy, great attitude, upbeat. There was Bossy's girlfriend, we call him Bossy. Bossy was with that young lady, okay? Maybe about 5'8", a little bit on the chubby side, but very, very kind. Okay, then there was 2 slim girls, okay, 2 slim ones. So I guess that's 4 girls in total, right? 4 girls in total, and then Bossy on the side, okay? The one dude with 4 chicks. Now, one of them, we met them. Now, these are all Belizean folks. The gentleman lived in New York. His girlfriend still lived here in Belize. And her and her friends, what they decided to do was just go to the bus terminal here and take the bus ride. I believe it's 5 or 6 hours straight up this Mayan coast right to Cancun. Now, they were staying literally in the heart of the action. Okay, they're staying in the heart of the action, and they just randomly happened to be on the pool deck on the top of Aloft, and we met them. Now, I kind of forget who made the first overture. I think they might have approached us, but we just had a decent conversation going. My boy was being most direct, and with me, what I noticed was the guy's girlfriend was kind of like showing me a lot of attention. It was to the point where I felt maybe a little bit uncomfortable. So much so to the point where after the trip was said and done, he made that connection with my friend on Facebook, and he left my request unanswered. Okay, now the conversation with the girls up on the pool deck, it got a little bit stagnant. Okay, so I decided, all right, let me just go in and talk to these other girls over here. There were some girls from Venezuela who were actually there. Didn't know they were Venezuelan until I started talking to them, but right, we had a little conversation going. I was asking them what they were doing there. They said that they were there just to enjoy their time, but they're also working. Okay. I asked them what they were doing for work, and then they declined to mention what it was. Okay. In my current brain now, given my experiences, I think I know what they were doing in Cancun, right? But anyway, let's move forward. So my boy came over, and then he was being his raucous, crazy self. So we went ahead and we were talking to them for a little while, had a good time, took a whole bunch of stupid photos, right? So then after we had spoke to them, I mean, these are beautiful women, we migrated back over to where the Belizean women were. They were upset, extremely upset. And my boy was like, yo, what's wrong? And one of them accused me of not liking my own kind. Okay, don't know what that was about. Okay, I didn't go over there with any expectations. I was just saying hello. I think at the time I might have had a little relationship that I was staying faithful to. So I was just there just to chat, share experience, and so forth. Now I'm actually kind of curious. Maybe that response came from a trauma place. There are a lot of native mestizo and native people that have moved from surrounding Latin nations to Belize, and I wonder maybe that girl was a little bit triggered because in the past she lost one of her dudes to a Latina, so maybe that might have been what that response is all about. Anyway, one night we decided to go out, and then we ended up seeing the girls, right? And they were standing outside of the club, and we were like, yo, come in. And then they were waving us outside of the club to leave the club. So we stepped out, right, because we already had wristbands at that point. We stepped outside and we were like, hey, what's wrong? Why don't you guys come in? And they said, well, we need somebody to pay for us to get in. So they were like, hey, why don't you pay for us? I was like, I don't know. My boy was like, maybe Keenan, maybe we should do it. And I said, no, I don't want them to be our responsibility all night, right? So I declined, right? And then my boy was like, all right, let's go that route. Now, I remember particularly as the big girl, right? What she had stated was, listen, if you pay for us to get into your club, we will be your girls all night, okay? I don't know what would come with that, but I declined it. I messed up that experience with my boy. Sorry, bro. Imagine staying all around clubs, but not having the money to enjoy any of it. That's got to be demoralizing. Okay, but in Cancun, if you decide to stay or take the bus off the 7 and go into local areas, you can drink, party, and have fun for a lot less money. And now they actually have these spots that only charge like $1 and change for a drink. So you want a drink of something that's like maybe $1.20. That would primarily be one of the spots that you'd have to go to drink and enjoy yourself when you're in Cancun under those tight budget restrictions. So anyway, there was an interesting dynamic that was going on there. You had a guy and his girlfriend, and eventually they would get engaged and get married, right? But a guy and his girlfriend, right? His girlfriend is giving me vibe, and then there are 3 other girls, right? The big girl, right, she was down for my bro, down, but he didn't want that. He's much less forgiving, right? I would have definitely entertained her because pretty face, but big body, right? The other 2, I mean, one was whack, but the other one was really pretty. Now my friend liked the one that was really pretty. He was dedicated to trying to get into his shorts, but of course he was unsuccessful. So moving past this event, going into the near future, Bossy's fiance was actually hitting me up on Facebook. She was saying, oh hey, I'm in New York now, let's link up, etc., etc. I'm having problems with my man, let's link up, let's have fun. Right, I declined because even though Bossy wasn't my guy, right, I still feel like that's wrong. Okay, so I didn't go through with that experience. Now my boy, he kept links with the big girl and then also the really, really pretty one. The really, really pretty one would go ahead, have, I believe it's either 1 or 2 more kids, and then what happens as you get older and you have kids, things at times can go downhill. That's what happened with her. But the big girl now, she actually got hit by a car, I believe it was, or got into a car accident. And my boy went ahead and actually sent her some money because she was unable to work for a time. Now, for my boys in the comment section below, all right, do you believe that we handled this situation wrong? With the information do you have? Do you feel as if we should have been more aggressive? Okay, when it comes to the Venezuelans that were up on the roof, and then also with the Belizean sisters that were there. In Cancun, should we have been more aggressive? Let me know in the comments below. I'd like to thank you guys for listening to this little combination story video. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. I'm coming at you soon with more videos. As always, peace out. Take care.
She looking like a goddess. Broke up your thing, got a booty so yummy. Wind up your bumper, me I fi go run it. Run for your life, she got my heart running. Caught my attention faster than Sonic. Broke up your thing, got a booty so yummy. Wind up your bumper, me I fi go run it. Run for your life, she got my heart running. Caught my attention faster than Sonic.